Sankirtanam, all of you can repeat after me. Can you all hear me well at the back? It's echoing. Maybe I can put it a little up also. Hari Om. You can make it a little louder. Hari Om, Hari Om. Is it good? Better now? More. It can go up. Okay. Little more. Hari Om, Hari Om. Rama Rama Sita Rama Ramachandra Pahi Mam. Rama Rama Sita Rama Ramachandra Pahi Mam. Krishna Govinda Hare Pahi Mam. Rama Krishna Govinda Hare Pahi Mam. Rama Krishna Govinda Hare Pahi Mam. Rama Krishna Govinda Hare Pahi Mam. Hara Hara Gangadhara नीलकंठ पाहि मां. हर हर नीलकंठ पाहि मां. हर हर गंगाधर नीलकंठ पाहि मां. हर हर गंगाधर नीलकंठ पाहि मां. राम कृष्ण गोविंद हरे 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 पाहि मां. कृष्ण कृष्ण गोपाल वासुदेव पाहि मां. कृष्ण कृष्ण गोपाल मां. कृष्ण कृष्ण गोपाल वासुदेव पाहि मां. कृष्ण कृष्ण गोपाल वासुदेव पाहि मां. राम कृष्ण गोविंद हरे पाहि मां. राम कृष्ण गोविंद हरे पाहि मां. राम राम सीता राम रामचंद्र पाहि मां. राम राम सीता राम रामचंद्र पाहि मां. राम कृष्ण गोविंद हरे पाहि मां. राम कृष्ण गोविंद हरे पाहि मां. हरे पाहि मां. हरे पाहि मां. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम हर हर नमः पार्वती पतये. हर हर महादेव. सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. ओ Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. In the last session, we had seen a general introduction about the BMI chart, how these vasanas are, and how they form the blueprint of our thoughts. The good news was, repeated choices that I make, if those choices are in the right direction, then even vasanas can be changed over time. That was the main takeaway from all the discussion that we did. And that thinner vasana personality asks subtler question. It can appreciate something subtler in life. The text we are going to study in this second session is called Bhaja Govindam. The name by itself is slightly misleading, because if you see literal meaning of that, we feel some kirtan is going to happen. We are doing bhajan of Govinda. We say that is one meaning. There are several meanings of Bhaja Govindam. It is our tradition that before we start the text directly, we look at the author first. Because when you appreciate the greatness of the author, we come to appreciate the greatness of their work. Sometimes it happened to me once. I was reading one article, and every point I read, it was so unique. It was something which it applied to you very directly, very systematically thought. And I was just wondering, who has written this? And in the top, I see it is Swami Vivekananda ji, complete works of Swamiji. And the example he was giving was how by smaller habits you can create changes in bigger habits. So he said there was a queen which was stuck in a castle, the top, she was stuck and she wanted to get down. So she could not find a way how to get down because they were not allowing her. And finally they find an ant, and a small thread they tie and put it, honey they tie to the, what do you call the front part of the ant? Antennas. And because of that honey, it keeps walking up, and then she gets the first thread. Like this, she catches hold of one by one, and then she makes a rope out of it. I'm oversimplifying it. He had very nicely given it. The point is, understanding who has written a work, we come to appreciate the depth and the greatness of this work. So Bhaja Govindam is composed by Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji. Bhagwan's name all of us have heard, but his personality has several facets. One was when he took avatara. We consider Bhagwan as avatara, not an ordinary person. Just by looking at magnitude of his work, you cannot but think that he is an avatara. When he came, there was a lot of confusion amongst people. First of all, there was confusion between different schools of thoughts. Between Dvaita, Advaita, Bauddha Darshana. All schools of thoughts, there was a lot of confusion. And even within the same religion, there was confusion about which one is greater, which one is better. Even between gods, people had this question, is Vishnu Bhagwan greater, or Lord Shiva greater, or Ganesh Bhagwan greater, or Guru greater? Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji was one great saint who gave people the right perspective. He said, God is great, His forms are many, main thing is you worship Bhagwan. if they're talking outside, you can either ask them to go to some other place, or they should come inside. So he was the one who gave a lot of perspective. You must have heard the word Panchayatana Puja. All different deities, how to worship them together. He said, don't get into this debate about who is greater. Take support of Bhagwan and make your life great. So that was Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. And his compositions, he has written commentaries on all 10 Upanishads, some of them voluminous ones. All of that he has explained word by word. That is his uniqueness. There are other scholars also who have written commentaries, but not everybody took the pain to explain word by word. They can explain mantra by mantra or paragraph by paragraph, but he has gone word by word. It is called as Pada Bhashya. Pada means word, Bhashya means commentary. Brahma Sutra he wrote commentary on. Bhagavad Gita he wrote commentary. Vishnu Sahasranama, every word he has written, Sanat Sujatiya. And then, just like Bhaja Govindam, there are introductory texts of Vedanta. They are called as Prakarana Grantha. Okay, one part of Vedanta they will clarify it for us. Like this, he has composed 35 plus Prakarana Granthas. There is a publication which has all of Shankaracharya's work. So if you count in the index, you will find 35 plus. 75 plus stotrams. 75 plus stotrams, all in the lifespan of 32 years. So his parents had a dream before he was born. Bhagwan Shiva appeared and said, you will have a child with long life, but not very productive for this society. Or another option is short lifespan, but his contribution will be something which will be etched in the history of humanity. What do you want? Mother chose the latter. So he was given 16 years of life, and when he completed 16 years, one Brahmana appeared and started debating with him on Brahma Sutras. How will you interpret this sutra? What is the meaning of that Upanishad mantra? And this little boy of 16 years starts debating. And then he understands this Brahmana is not an ordinary person. It was Bhagwan Vedavyas ji. He had taken form as a Brahmana, and looking at the brilliance of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, he says, your work is still not complete, you need 16 more years. So from 16 it became 32, and within that span he did all this work. Now this is one facet of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji's life as a guru. That if there is confusion in society, one of the most effective way of removing confusion is through right knowledge. Expression of confusion is in confused actions, different choices people make, all conflicts that come. It is because of confusion only, or whatever erroneous identities we have. But to address that confusion, you cannot just do it at superficial level. So his contribution was through scriptures, by giving us right way to think. When we say avatara, avatara does dharma sthapana, right? Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkrutam. To protect the sadhus and to finish all the asuras, Bhagwan takes avatara. But how will Bhagwan finish the asuras in our mind? For that he has to take avatara as Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, and then enter our mind through scriptures, and that knowledge will remove the asuras in our mind. Now more from a social standpoint, we can see the contribution of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji in a very unique way. It is one thing to be good yourself. to know some skill, know some art, but a very different thing to teach that to somebody else. And that too in such a way that it will be sustained for years to come. So with that idea, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji established 4 mathas. In the north, there is Jyotir Matha. In the south, Shrangeri Matha. And then in Puri, there is one Matha. Jagannatha Bhagwan is there. And in Dwarka, there is Sharada Matha. So Puri is in the east, Dwarka is in the west. But you see the interesting thing, the head of Shrangeri Matha, the first head was Sureshwaracharya ji, who was from the north. The first head of Jyotir Matha was Totakacharya ji, who was from the south. Means wherever he went, he tried to integrate people. He went to Badrinath temple and he gave them the procedure of doing pujas. And he said, a Nambudri from Kerala, I will appoint, and this has to continue. Even now, the Badrinath temple priest is somebody from Kerala. He went to Pashupatinath temple in Nepal. There also he saw, means temples also sometimes, they need some vision. How people should maintain it. How, there is something called as kala of that vigraha. It goes down if it is not done in the proper way. So when he saw all these things, he gave them the perspective. Pashupatinath temple, he said, some priest from Karnataka. I will appoint there. And even today, the priest in Pashupatinath temple comes from Karnataka. Those who have gone must have seen all these things. But what is the main point? A saint like Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji was the one who tried to unite people. He said, purpose of life is not to get stuck in this small things. Think about something higher. This is the goal of life, and you have to work together towards that goal. Okay, that was his contribution in several ways, but we just saw 2 of it. Okay. Now this Bhaja Govindam is a very important text because it talks about the urgency of spirituality in our life. Why do we need spirituality? Sometimes we ourselves get this question, or we see others who are not spiritual but still living a good life. Then we start thinking, oh, I am coming on Sundays, I am going to Bal Vihar, attending study group. Is it really worth it? So he is going to give perspectives about why spirituality. Okay. So Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, just like he was traveling in different places, he goes with his students. He goes to a place called Kashi. How many of you have been to Kashi over here? Very good. In Kashi you must have seen there is a study going on every other house, and very informal setting. You are just, teacher is sitting, students are surrounded. In between you can ask questions. Whenever the teacher wants, he will start. Whenever he wants, he will stop. You cannot get away in between. Very informal style of teaching, but it is Vidyanagari. A lot of scholars live there, revered scholars live. So he sees one elderly person standing upside down and chanting Ashtadhyayi sutras. Ashtadhyayi has around 5,000 sutras. Panini Maharshi's Ashtadhyayi. They are grammar rules. And the thing with this sutra is, if you don't revise it, it evaporates. It is called Pakshika Jnanam Sutra. 15 days you don't revise it, it evaporates. Paksha means 15 days, fortnight knowledge. Unlike you are driving and swimming, it stays longer, right? This one keeps evaporating, so you have to constantly memorize it. And this person, who was probably in his 70s, 80s, he is revising this one sutra called Dukrun Karane. Every dhatu has a meaning. So Kru dhatu meaning is to do. So he is reviving Dukrun Karane, Dukrun Karane, Dukrun Karane. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji sees that person. And remember, Shankaracharya ji is how many years probably now? In his 20s. And that other person is in his 80s. He is looking at him and scolding him that at this stage of life, focus on only secular knowledge will not do much good to us. And out of his love, you say, care, you say, the scolding that came out from Bhagwan Shankaracharya's, Divya Vani, that is called Bhaja Govindam. You see, Mahatmas, even if they scold, it becomes Stotram. That is the beauty, because there is no individual agenda. He has nothing to gain from that person. He has nothing to lose also if that person gets upset with him. He says, I'm going on my way. So he is having that care and concern to correct him. This is the setting, background. We will reflect more why he scolded him, who was that person, and so on. But he says, O Moodha, Moodha mate, nahi nahi rakshati dukrun karane. Only secular knowledge is not going to help us. Okay? Now with this, many people, they quickly jump to a conclusion. They say, I heard you are teaching Sanskritam on Tuesdays. And also there is Sanskritam class going at the same time. Why should we study Sanskritam? See, anyway, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji is telling over here. It used to happen even when we studied. Some students would not like Sanskritam. So they would come back and quote Shankaracharya ji only. I came to study Vedanta and you are telling me to study Sanskritam. What you will notice is, to understand Bhaja Govindam, you need Sanskritam. You see the first verse, even to understand the word Moodha, without Sanskritam, we'll have a very different idea. So little bit we need. But the main point here is, Bhagwan is addressing those people who are taking support in only secular knowledge. So you should include science, you should include music, include all forms of art. They might be very good in it, but they are missing out of something which is important. Okay? With that much introduction, let us start. Now these verses will seem like, he is scolding, very urgently he is telling something. We say there are situations where we have to scold in that way. Gurudev gives an example. He says, if your house is on fire and parents are inside, you will not go and say, this is my revered father, revered mother, first I will do pranams. You will just bring them out. Or if your child is going to touch some electric socket, they are very creative. When they learn to walk, all sorts of things they do. Even though you have heard in different parenting sessions, never say no to your child. If they want to do something, present an alternative. Tell it in such a way that he feels that other choice is more appealing and he doesn't get turned off by your no. You say, all that parenting is on one side, hey, come back here. You will go and scold him or not. That is how Bhagwan Shankaracharya is feeling now for this seeker. Okay, let us start. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Govindam Bhaja Moodhamate. Samprapte sannihite kale. Nahi nahi rakshati dukrun karane. Together. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Moodhamate. The first word we need to pay attention here is Mudhamate. Our style of studying is this. You have to understand each word and then see if the meaning opens up. Again, look at the words. All words should become clear. So the word here first we will see is Mudhamate. Who is Mudhamate now in this case? That 80-year-old person who is standing upside down and chanting Ashtadhyayi. But remember, he could also be a great scholar of Sanskrit. He could possibly be somebody who is teaching also. Not an ordinary person, at that age he is doing this just to stay on top of things. That person Bhagwan calls as Mudhamate. So Mudha in Sanskrit does not mean unintelligent. That's a very literal meaning. If you say Mudha means somebody who cannot think, somebody who is a dullard, that is not the deeper meaning of the word Mudha. So for understanding Mudha, you have to know a little bit of Sanskrit. So Mudha word comes from the root Muh. Moha word you have heard. Moha means delusion. So Moha root word is Muh. Muha means, in Sanskrit, Muha Vaichitye, means somebody who has erroneously understood something. One who has gotten erroneous knowledge, that person is called as Mudha. Not unintelligent. He is very intelligent. But for some reason, about some things, he has gotten erroneous perception. For example, if you have somebody who is doing a PhD or something, very brilliant child, started studying, 4th year he has reached. And now suddenly he says, I want to quit. I want to go somewhere else. Now what will you say? Don't be foolish. Don't you see that it's only 1 year of effort and you are so good? You have all the potential, everything you have done. At this point, where is this confusion coming from? So Mudha there, foolish doesn't mean he doesn't have ability to think or is unintelligent. But he has gotten erroneous convictions. Now, who is the Mudha over here? Mudha is somebody, Bhagwan says, have you thought about these facets in life? Okay, person who has erroneous conviction about these facets, he says that person is Mudha. What are those facets? First thing is, all of us have human body. Right? Human body we have. What is the absolute purpose of human life? Absolute purpose. Absolute means what, After reaching there, you should not say there is anything more to be done. After reaching there, you should not say there is anything more to be done. Even while traveling, you can say this or not. When can you say you have reached your destination? When you can get down from your car and walk away. You should not say, even after reaching here, there is something more. Means what? I have not reached my destination. So he is asking, in this human birth, what is the absolute purpose of human life? Okay, now this is a little higher question. But relatively he asks, all of us want happiness in life. All of us want joy in life. Where is joy or happiness going to come from? What is it that if I do, happiness will be there for certain? What is it that if I do, happiness will be there for certain? Third facet is, was I there before this body, or is this my first birth? Was I there before this physical body, or is this my first birth? Will I continue after this physical body, or everything finishes right with disintegration of body? He says, person who has never thought about these things, Bhagwan calls that person as Mudhamate. That is, this question is asking, tell me your conviction about these facets of life. Tell me whether you have thought about these facets of life. Okay? So he says, somebody who is only looking at secular knowledge, when sannihita kala comes. What is sannihita kala? Time of death, literal meaning is time of death. But sannihita kala means time of difficulty. Whenever some difficulty comes in life, secular knowledge alone will not come to save me. Nahi nahi rakshati dukrun karane. Dukrun karane applied to all secular knowledge, and sannihita kala is not only time of death, but even during other times, whenever difficulty comes, secular knowledge alone will not save us. You know, I had read in the life of our Abdul Kalam ji, past President of India. He said he wanted to get into this Air Force, which had only 7 seats. Only 7 people could get into that pilot, Air Force pilot interview. And that was his dream, for which he worked so hard and everything. And he doesn't clear that exam. And so disappointed, several attempts, nothing is working. He says he goes and meets Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj. He writes in his autobiography, his words brought me back. And then he continues, he writes how his journey took a different turn. The point is, importance of spiritual knowledge in sannihita kala. Otherwise, many of us will not appreciate sannihita kala is only time of death. You see, let us worry about it when it comes. Why think about it right now? That also is important. That one is the fear of death. That is sannihita kala. So that fear of death will not go away with secular knowledge. Or difficulties will not get addressed with only secular knowledge. Okay? So with this, we should think about 2 journeys of our life. If you want to appreciate this verse more, whom is Bhagwan Shankaracharya addressing? You have to pay attention to 2 words. All of you are not tired, right? Early morning. It's not early, but I know you have gone through your class and everything. You are ready for a little bit of deep thinking? Not too deep, little bit. The first journey is called as Deha Yatra. Yatra means pilgrimage, where you travel. So this is called as pilgrimage of physical body, or journey of physical body. Deha means body, Yatra means journey. So in Yatra, what all things are there? If you travel by train, there are different stations, right? So in Deha Yatra also there are different stations. To be precise, there are 6 stations. What is the first station? First station is you exist. Body becomes existent in mother's womb. Then it is born. Second station is it is born. Third station is it grows. Very nice phrase, It grows, running around, everything is there. Then slowly it starts modifying. Hair starts modifying, all joints start modifying. It starts speaking, body also starts speaking that I am changing now. Then it starts decaying, going downwards. And finally, the last station, it perishes. See how thoroughly they have analyzed. Journey of this body, he says only the 6 stations. In Sanskrit, it is called as 6 vikaras of physical body, 6 modification. First one is asti, it exists. Second station is jayate, it is born. Third station is it grows, vardhate. Then viparinamate, it starts modifying. Then starts decaying, apakshiyate. Finally, it starts perishing. not perishing, finally it decays or it doesn't start perishing, it ends in perishing. That is called as vinashyati. Now pay attention to this journey. Whatever this journey is, no matter who that person is, everybody has to travel through all 6 stations. Nobody can say, I am the president of this country, I will stop only at Vardhate, because I like the first 3 stations. Asti, Jayate, Vardhate, I don't want Viparinamate. It's nothing doing. No matter who you are, Viparinamate will come. Or if that person says, I'm so resourceful, I have a lot of wealth, everything is there, I don't want Vinashyati. This is nothing doing. Whether you like it or not, that will also come. So then somebody starts thinking, what is my real Purushartha in Deha Yatra? Purushartha means self-effort. If this is how journey has to continue, if this is how stations have to come, what am I really striving in terms of Deha Yatra? But be careful there, Deha Yatra is also important. Our scriptures don't outrightly deny Deha Yatra. Bhagavan, what does he say? Sharira Yatra pichate na prasiddhet akarmanaha. Sharira Yatra means Deha Yatra. Even for healthy body, having a good routine, if you don't put forth effort, if you are lazy, even that routine will fall apart. Haven't you seen this vacation time? Even to take shower becomes a chore. You keep delaying it. Whatever routine we had, even that falls apart. So that is also important. What he says, this person starts thinking, if Deha Yatra is, this is how it is going to be, how much of self-effort should I put here? So scriptures say, put it such that your journey is comfortable. They say in the announcement, right? Railway station and all, they say, हम आशा करते हैं आपकी यात्रा सुखद रहे. We hope, only hope, that your journey is comfortable. That much you do. This is said in Bhagavatam. That purpose of comforts in life, purpose of all other things, they are to a point that our Deha Yatra becomes comfortable. But this person starts thinking, there is so much of bondage in this Deha Yatra. What is the bondage? First bondage is what we just saw. No matter what I do, everybody has to end in Vinashyati only. And second is, even while I'm going through it, there is so much of ups and downs. And I have no choice to get down in any station. Right? You cannot say, I want to get down in Vardhate station. I don't want to get back again. He said, no choice. Have you been in that rides? They have this joy rides, right? Where they put that harness. In between, if you feel nauseous, you can't get down. Until that ride ends, he says, you sit inside now. So this person feels this is how Deha Yatra is, and he starts seeking something different. Such was the quest of Lord Buddha. You see, his father, when he was Siddhartha, he very conveniently tried to hide the remaining 3 stations. He showed him only Asti, Jayate, Vardhate. Born, grows, is manifested, born and grows. He didn't show him the decay part. Old age and death, he very conveniently hid from him. But only one trigger was sufficient. He said, if this is to come to me also, only this thing cannot be goal of my life. Okay? So who is a Mudhamate over here? Who thinks Deha Yatra alone to be the goal of life? Mudhamate is the one who thinks Deha Yatra alone to be the goal of life. So if Deha Yatra is not the goal of life, then what is other yatra that I can focus on? We say other yatra is called as Jiva Yatra. It's also yatra. there are also stations there. But it is not yatra of physical body, it is yatra of our mind. How have my convictions evolved? That decides how much I have progressed on Jiva Yatra. Because I come to realize this is not my only birth. I was there before, and if I don't get moksha, I'm going to continue also. So what is that thing I should start working towards? So when you think about Jiva Yatra, you have 4 stations in Jiva Yatra also. Easier to remember. Huh? First station is called as Pamara. Pamara means a person who wants sense objects at any cost. Doesn't care where it comes from, doesn't care how it comes. He says, if I want something, I will get it no matter what. If I have to smuggle, I will smuggle. If I have to steal, I will steal. Yena kena upayena vishayan bhunjita. Vishayani bhunjita. Go and enjoy all these sense organs. Now, whenever thinking is done, it is done with keeping everybody in mind. So don't be surprised. Oh, such thing is also there. It is there in the world. If we are not falling in that category, well and good. But there is a group which thinks, what this all rules and regulations and everything, if I want something, sense objects are needed, I will go and get it. So whatever addictions we see, all other things will fall in this category, Pamaraha. Now that same Pamaraha, because of Bhagwan's grace, you say, or his own life experiences, he goes to the next step, which is called as Vishayi. This is the second station in Jiva Yatra. Second station is Vishayi. So Vishayi also wants sense objects. Vishaya means sense object, right? He also wants sense objects, but he says, I want it only through ethical means. Because I've seen in the past, whenever there has been unethical practices, it has come back in some way or the another. Either right at that moment or at some later time, he says, I want Vishayas, but I want it through ethical means. So he's very, very diligent in the world outside, puts forth a lot of effort. Then he also comes to realize, I need good health. Because without good health, he cannot enjoy the things which are there with him. Everything is there, lavish food is there, house is there, but he is not having good digestion or does not feel like eating. He says, no, let me exercise. So he goes out, does all the things, but not to come and do more satsang. He says, I want to go back and enjoy more. So that whenever Vishayas are there, I can enjoy them more. These are all mindsets. Don't feel surprised. We should just appreciate how our rishis have thought. This point comes in Vichar Sagar. These 4 categories, the 4 stages of Jiva Yatra. It's one text which is also written in Avadhi Bhasha. This categorization is from there. Second station was Vishayi. What was the difference? He wants Vishayas, but wants it through dharma, wants it through ethical means. And hardworking, does everything in life, but he says, I want Vishayas only. Then again, some kind of satsang happens. And his own life experiences, he is paying attention to. And he comes to realize that no matter which object I have got in life, after some time, its glamour has faded away. Sometimes he goes in his garage and looks, what all things I purchased? Thinking it to be so important when it was in the house. Then after some time, it found its way to the garage. And slowly it finds its way to garage sale. And somebody pays twice the amount to get it back in somebody else's house. Very interesting how this mind works. I knew one professor in my university. She had done research on garage sales. Just the social dynamics which go on and how people look at this, garage sales and everything. This was something that was, something she found, that people of all strata of society, they are under the same roof. And they are trying to get something which somebody does not want, and somebody who is so eagerly looking forward to that thing. But overall he realizes that no matter what object I get in life, my incompleteness will not go with it. This is a deep realization he gets, not because somebody else is telling him, because his own mind has started becoming subtler. Okay, so this is the third station where he starts becoming sadhaka, where he says, my joy cannot come only from sense objects. There is something deeper I have to seek in life. Okay. Pamaraha, second station, Vishayi, third, Sadhaka. After becoming Sadhaka, Bhagwan's grace, satsang happens. Finally, he goes to the fourth one, which is called as Siddha. Siddha means somebody who says, whatever I had to accomplish in life, I have accomplished. There is nothing more to be gained. There is no other source of happiness that I am seeking. So ever if we get this question, which category I belong to? We should keep asking, what are the things we are seeking in life? And how we are seeking it? If I don't care about the means, then that person will be category 1, Pamaraha. If I care about the means, I want it to be ethical, that person is Vishayi. But if I have realized sense objects or world alone cannot be the goal of life, that person is Sadhaka. And that Sadhaka, when he gets this knowledge, goes on to become Siddha. Now Bhagwan Shankaracharya is telling, to face difficult situations in life, we need to pay attention to Jiva Yatra, not only Deha Yatra. That is his main point, which he is emphasizing over here. If mind is disturbed or some challenge comes in life, I should either be in sadhaka category or I should be in sadhaka category. Okay? Siddha category we cannot give ourselves or anybody. Because to put Siddha in a category is another bondage. Because you will have some erroneous metric to do it. You say, have you understood Upanishad clearly? That much is sufficient. Have you understood that you are not a finite being? He said, don't say anything more. Don't even say, I've understood myself to be consciousness. Because even that becomes another objectification. But another thing, if you pay attention to this Jiva Yatra, what you'll notice is, we will become very accepting of the world. We will also become non-judgmental about the world. World means people, huh? If we see somebody who is in Pamara state, doesn't care about the means, wants only sense objects, we should remember they are also on this journey. Today they might be in Pamara. With Bhagwan's grace, it will come to the second one. Vishaya will come to Sadhaka. Sadhaka will become Siddha. So more of this analysis is for self-evaluation. And when we look at the world, it is mainly for acceptance. The story of Ratnakara, where did it start? Started from Pamara. He went to his family and said, will you take the blame for my Papa Karma? He says, no, Papa Karma is yours. It's your duty to feed us. We are not going to take any part in that Papa Karma. So of course he skipped Vishayi, became Sadhaka, and then Siddha. In Ramcharitmanas, Kakabhushundiji tells his background. Long story, he says, He says, I started from a Pamara. Then I became Vishayi, then I became Sadhaka. And look at the grace of bhajan, he says. Look at the grace of devotion to Bhagwan, where I was and where it could take me. That part we should catch hold of. So two things we saw. One was Deha Yatra, second was Jiva Yatra. One who takes only Deha Yatra to be the goal, that person Bhagwan is telling, hey Modamate, focus on your Jiva Yatra also. Bhagwan, where do I start? Where should I start? He says, Bhaja Govindam. Now come to the first word. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Worship that Bhagwan, worship Bhagwan Krishna. One form is given. Govinda means that. Go means cows, Vinda means one who takes care of cows. You know, in Gokul, just like you have gradation right over here. In Boy Scouts, I think they have this. First you are something, then you become commissioner, then something else, right? In Gokul also they had that. When somebody is small, they would not be given a cow. Their first thing was calf. Okay, you play around with calf, take care of calf. So Bhagwan's first name was Vatsapala. In Bhagavatam it is there. Vatsapala means one who takes care of calves. And he would again and again insist to Nanda Baba, but I am ready. Let me take care of cows. Nanda Baba said, not yet. You know, you have to grow a little more. Taking care of cows is difficult. You have to keep track of them, everything. So finally one day, Nanda Baba agrees and they do a puja of the person who has graduated. How we have graduation ceremony, right? They also have graduation. So he does puja and Vatsapala becomes Gopala. That Bhagwan Krishna you worship, he will take care of everything. That is the simple meaning. He says, Bhaja Govindam, don't complicate it too much. Take his name and then you see what all things he can do in life. How much time do we have? Oh, we are already almost at, There is one part in Uttarakanda, which is very beautiful, where Goswami Tulsidas Ji says, what are the 6 stations? I don't know why I'm using the word station today. What are the 6 steps of blossoming of a devotee? You will not find it in other places. Very few indicators that Goswami Ji has given. He says, first thing which starts is bhajan. Bhajan means in whatever way you can worship the Lord, remember Him through whatever means. If you are singing, that singing is for remembrance. If you are serving, that serving is for remembrance. If you are talking, talking is for remembrance. And if you are working, that working also is for His remembrance. So it actually doesn't matter what work you are doing, he says just remember Him. And if you do the work, even if it is the most spiritual one, and you don't remember Him, he says your work is not, purpose is not fulfilled. So he says first step we all start is bhajan. Then he says what this bhajan does is it melts the Lord's heart. It doesn't matter how good that bhajan is or how technical it is, whether there are mistakes in pronunciation or not. If there is sincerity and purity, he says that bhajan has the power to melt Bhagwan's heart. And with that melting, you get something called as krupa. Krupa is His grace. He says this is the second thing which will happen in life. Somebody who can pay attention to it, he says, this grace has come in my life. Things which are there which I never thought, how they will unfold, how they will work, but everything worked out. He says that is His krupa. And with that krupa, he starts to realize the strength of the Lord. That is called as Prabhuta Jnana. Prabhuta Jnana means how powerful my Bhagwan is. Not that somebody else is telling him now. He has had that krupa and he has seen what his power is. That is his third stage, which is called as Prabhuta Jnanam. Then comes the fourth one. He says, now with this Prabhuta Jnanam, he has gotten a deep trust and faith in the Lord. Because he has seen the power of the Lord, he says that has blossomed into Vishwasa. That Vishwasa has come in his life. And because repeatedly he takes support and repeatedly he prays. And he does find that his prayers are answered. Gurudev has a quote, right? I know not how he answers my prayer, but I do know that they get answered. So that thing he notices, so his faith which is there, that transforms into love. Vishwasa becomes prema. And that prema, over a period of time, becomes Drudha Bhakti. Firm conviction that somebody is there who is much stronger, much sweeter, whom I can take support. Whatever I want, I can accomplish. 6 stages, huh? Very beautiful. You can do more reflection. Find examples for each stage. What is the first one? Bhajan. And bhajan in different ways. We will see in the next session. But bhajan is remembering the Lord. That bhajan took us to Krupa. Melting Bhagwan's heart, feeling his grace. That Krupa led to Prabhuta Jnanam. Knowing the power of the Lord. That Prabhuta Jnanam took us to Vishwasa. Having this faith that I know he is powerful, but whenever I can seek his help, I have heard an answer. That Vishwasa became Prema. You can't but have Prema then, huh? If there is somebody whom you trust, and that person is available for you every time, takes care of you much more than what you have asked for. Love is natural. And that Prema finally blossoms into Drudha Bhakti. But the main point is, where did all of this start? Bhajan. That is the essence of this Bhaja Govindam. Start by worshipping in any way, and he will take care of journey further. Few more points we will see and then continue, but I hope every word is opening up more and more. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. I would have loved to stay longer and interacted with all of you, but today we have another session in San Mateo. So I have to rush over there right now.